It is very well known that to do any kind of work, energy is required. You can take the example of electrical trains. Well, electrical trains work on electrical energy. You can also take the example of some vehicles that run on fuel. Well, all the vehicles that run on fuel are dependent on fuel because fuel provides them energy. Similarly, all the living beings are dependent upon food to obtain their energy because food gives them energy. So in this chapter, we are going to study about food and where does it come from. That means we are going to study about the sources of food. Hey viewers, this is Devinder Kaur and you all are welcome to my YouTube channel, The Enlightened Room. Let's get started. Now, as we're going to study about food here, food is a kind of fuel for our body because it provides us energy. So there are some important functions of food. What those important functions are? Number one, it gives us energy to do our work and daily activities. It protects us from diseases and helps to keep us healthy and fit. It also helps in maintenance of body, in the repair of cells and tissues. And number four, it gives us nutrients for the growth of our body. Now, let's move on to the topic food variety. Now, there is a lot of variety in our food. You can take the various kinds of food or cultures in food items of different places in India. Like in Punjab, people used to like to eat makki di roti and sarson da saag. In Rajasthan, there are different food traditions. In Kerala, there are different food traditions. In Tamil Nadu, in Gujarat. That means in every place there are different kinds of food. That means you can say there is a different kind of food variety there. Also, when you move out from India, in Canada you will see different kind of food variety. In America you will see different kind of food variety. So what this food variety is like how you are preparing the food. Like in food variety you can take the example of as in chapati. Okay, in chapati you all need wheat flour or any kind of flour you wanna eat, and you need some salt, some water. In any kind of dish, you are taking some vegetables, you are taking some masalas, and you are adjusting them, you are pouring them time to time to make it delicious, right? So whatever you are using to prepare your food is known as ingredients, and these are all found in raw materials. Like you're making a dish and that dish contains potatoes, spinach and capsicum. Okay, so these potatoes, spinach, capsicum and whatever you are adding more things, these are all our raw materials. Okay, and these raw materials which are used to prepare food are known as ingredients. Now let's move on to the next topic, which is sources of food. That means from where the food come. Okay, so in this topic you will study about the food from plants, the food we get from plants and the food we get from animals. So let's first talk about the food we get from plants. We all know that plants prepare their own food. That's why they are known as producers. They prepare their own food using carbon dioxide, sunlight, water and chlorophyll, which is present in the leaf, and the stomata helps in this process too. And this, with the help of these four ingredients, you can say it prepares, or you can say the leaf prepares its own food by the process of photosynthesis, right? Now the all food prepared in the leaf is converted into starch, and that starch is transferred, or you can say is transported to various parts of the plant, and some of the parts of the plant are eaten by us. Okay, you can take the example of radish. We eat the roots of radish, we eat the stem of potato, and we eat the leaves of spinach and cabbage. Okay, so there are different parts of plant which we eat. Now to summarize this, we can say these are the edible parts of the plant. Now what these edible parts of these plants are? Edible means the things which can be eaten by us. Okay, so edible part of plant is defined as the parts of the plant which can be eaten by us. So those are known as edible parts of a plant. So let's take a look at this table which shows that which part of the plant can be eaten by us. Now you can take the example of fruits here, as I told you earlier. We can eat the roots of carrot, turnip, radish and sweet potato. We can eat the stems of sugarcane, onion, ginger and potato. We can eat the leaves of mint, spinach, cabbage, lettuce, and you can take many more examples as much as you can. You can also take the example of flowers. Yes, we also eat flowers of some plants, and that is cauliflower, banana flower, broccoli, pumpkin flower and many more. We usually eat the fruits of many plants like apple, guava, mango, grapes, and you can take as much examples as much you can. Now there are vegetables like beans, cucumber, brinjal, peas which we eat. Then there are some seeds of the plant which are eaten by us. These seeds are wheat, rice, kidney beans, cumin, etc. Well, wheat, rice, bajra, maize, these all are considered as cereal grains, and these all belong to the grass family. Okay, that means that grass family is a kind of major portion in our food. Now let's move on to this topic. Now the 8th part is nuts. The last one is nuts. That means we also eat nuts of some plants, that is cashew nuts, almonds and walnuts. So these are the various parts of the plant that we eat. Now we also get food from animals. Okay, so what kind of food we get from animals? Number one, we get milk from animals. There are some milk giving animals like cow, buffalo, goat which give us milk. Now we eat meat of some animals too. That means we eat the flesh of some animals, but we don't eat it raw. We cook it properly, after that we eat. You can take the example of fish, hen or chicken, whatever you can take. Okay, turkey is also an example of meat. We also get to eat eggs of, you can say, chicken, turkey, duck, etc. And eggs are rich in protein, meat is also rich in protein, and milk also contains many vital nutrients which are important for our body. Now there is one more thing that we get from animals, and that is honey. We get honey from honeybees, which is a tasty and nutritious food item, and it is used to make many kind of medicines. And nowadays there is a rearing of honeybees on large scale. Now this is done to obtain honey and wax on the and to sell it on the commercial scale. Okay, so the rearing of honeybees on a large scale for the purpose of obtaining honey and wax is known as apiculture, and the honeybees are kept in apiaries for rearing. Well, you must also have thought that how is honey produced? Well, honeybees collect the nectar from flowers, which is a sweet juice that they get from flowers, and then they convert that nectar into honey and store it in their hive. So we observe that different animals have different food habits too. Okay, so some eat plants, some eat only flesh of other animals, and some eat both. So on the basis of their food habits, we can classify animals into these 5 categories. Now these 5 categories are herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, scavengers, decomposers and parasites. Now first of all, talk about herbivores. Herbivores are the animals which only eat plant or plant products. Okay, so these are known as herbivores. You can take the example around you like cow, buffalo, goat, deer, etc. These all eat only plant or plant products. Okay, they survive on the food of they survive on the food prepared by plant. Okay, now these herbivores have some special characteristics. Number one is most of the herbivores have white and blunt teeth which are suitable for grazing and grinding. And there are some herbivores like cows, buffaloes and camels, and they have the ability to bring back the previously swallowed food into their mouth for rechewing. So this is a kind of ability they have, and this ability helps them to absorb most of the nutrients from the food by the rechewing of food. Okay, now there are some herbivores like squirrels. They have a pair of sharp incisors in both the jaws. So these teeth are used to gnaw the food item like nuts. And there are some herbivores like butterflies and hummingbirds. They have straw-like mouth parts. Now the straw-like mouth parts help them to suck the nectar from flowers. Now let's talk about carnivores. Well, carnivores are the animals which only eat the flesh of other animals. Well, you can take the example of lion, tiger, leopard and many more. Now these carnivores also have some special characteristics, and what those characteristics are: carnivores have sharp and pointed canines which are also known as tearing teeth, along with very sharp claws and powerful jaws which help them to tear the flesh. Some carnivores like chameleons and frogs have long and sticky tongue which help them to catch the insects. Now there are some carnivores like eagles, which is a bird, and it has a curved and pointed beak which helps them to tear the flesh of their prey. And there are some carnivores which is a carnivorous fish, and the name of that carnivorous fish is sharks. They have several small and sharp teeth that help them to bite the flesh. Now let's talk about omnivores. Well, omnivores are a kind of animals which not just only eat the plant or plant products or the flesh of other animals, they eat both. That means omnivores are the animals that feed on the plant or plant products and the flesh of other animals, and the biggest example is us humans, because we eat both plant and plant products and the flesh of other animals. So humans are considered as omnivores, but there are some more examples of omnivores like crow, bear and many more. Now these omnivores have some special characteristics too, and these special characteristics are: omnivores have different types of teeth that help them to eat both plant and flesh of other animals. Okay, so omnivores, there are some omnivorous birds like crows that have sharp and pointed beak. So such type of beak is helpful in eating variety of food items. Now let's talk about scavengers. Well, scavengers have the ability to feed on the dead bodies of animals. That means they would not hunt on the living animal, they would not hunt any living creature. They would search for the dead creature and would feed on them. And the examples are hyenas, jackals and vultures and many more. And then there are some decomposers. Well, scavengers or decomposers are quite alike with each other, but they are different. Well, scavengers only feed on the dead bodies of animals or plants. They do not search any living creature. So does the decomposer do. They do not search for any kind of a living body or living plant or living animal. They also feed on the dead bodies of animals and plants, but they also decompose their body. That's why decomposers are different from scavengers. Well, scavengers just only feed on the dead bodies of animals and plants, while decomposers feed on the dead bodies of animals and plants and decompose them. So the examples of decomposers are fungi, bacteria and many more. But scavengers and decomposers have a quality in common, and that quality is they help to keep the environment on the earth clean, because they completely eat up the dead body of any animal or plant, and it helps the whole environment to remain cleaned. Okay, now let's talk about parasites. Well, parasites are a kind of creatures, or we can say the organisms which feed on the living body of some other animal or plant. Okay, they would not do any work, they would not prepare their own food, they will get their nutrition from the living body. Whatever the nutrition that living body is getting, whatever the nutrition that living plant or animal is getting, that will be taken by that parasite. So parasites are of two kinds. One that lives on the body, that means outside the body of animal or plant, and the other that lives inside the body of the animal. So here you can see we have two kinds of parasites. The parasites that live outside the body of other animals are fleas, leeches and bugs. And there are some parasites like roundworms, tapeworms, pinworms and hookworms that live inside the body of animals. These parasites completely absorb the food digested by the host. Now let's talk about food chain. Well, we all know that the ultimate source of energy on earth is solar energy, which is obtained from sun. and we animals and we humans do not have that capability to utilize that solar energy to prepare their own food. But animals do. Animals have a green pigment known as chlorophyll, which traps the solar energy inside it and uses it or utilizes it to prepare their own food using energy from sun, right? The solar energy from sun, carbon dioxide, water, and of course the chlorophyll by the process of photosynthesis. This all the animals, whether they are herbivores, whether they are carnivores, they all are directly or indirectly related or dependent on plants for food. So feeding relationship among these all organisms, whether it is producers, that means that prepare their own food, which are plants, and herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, they all have this relationship, this feeding relationship between them, and that is known as food chain. So food chain can be defined as a series of organisms which are linked together by the process of eating or being eaten for food. Now there are different types of food chain: the food chain in pond, food chain in desert, food chain on land. So you can take various examples here. Now let's move on to the topic food problem. Now many of the people in our country cannot or do not get enough food to eat. Now there are various reasons for that. Number one, it is shortage of food. Number two, many people cannot buy enough food due to poverty, and that problem is known as food problem. So there are different ways in which we can solve this food problem. Number one, we should grow more food crops by using the modern methods of farming, right? Now number two, we should store the food grains properly so that they are not being eaten by pests or like rats, insects or birds, or either they are not being spoiled by microorganisms. Also, they should not be wasted by throwing in the water, throwing in the pond or sea. Number three, we should not waste food in any way. Like overeating, you all know, leads to obesity. We should not take more food than we can eat. So we should consume all the food that we take in a plate. So a large amount of food is wasted due to poor management at parties and other social functions. So we should use these methods to solve the food problem. So we have completed the whole chapter food. Where does it come from? Subscribe to my channel to get more videos like this. Thank you so much.